On a rainy night in a small town, a young waitress named Emily Parker noticed four little girls huddled together outside her diner window. Their clothes were torn, their faces pale, and their eyes carried the silent pain of hunger and loneliness. Emily's heart sank. These girls had no one in the world, no parents, no warm home to return to. Without hesitation, she invited them inside and placed 4 plates of food in front of them. That single act of kindness would unknowingly shape the next 12 years of her life. From that night onward, Emily quietly made it her mission to take care of the girls. Every day after her long shifts at the diner, she would save a portion of her tips to buy them food. She found them second-hand clothes, helped with their school supplies, and even taught them how to read and write at her kitchen table. For 10 long years, Emily stood by them like a mother, never expecting anything in return. She herself struggled, working double shifts, skipping meals and giving up her own dreams. Yet whenever she saw the girls smiling with full stomachs, she knew her sacrifice was worth it. But life wasn't always kind. Neighbors whispered behind Emily's back, saying she was wasting her life on children that weren't her own. Some mocked her for pouring her money into kids who, in their eyes, would never make anything of themselves. Even Emily sometimes wondered how long she could keep going. Still, whenever the girls clung to her hand and called her Mama Emily, she chose love over doubt. Emily sat in her small wooden chair, sipping tea after a long day, when suddenly the distant sound of a powerful engine echoed down her quiet street. She leaned forward, confused, because expensive cars never came to this poor neighborhood. The rumble grew louder until a sleek black SUV turned the corner, its polished body gleaming like something out of another world. Her heart skipped a beat. She had never seen such a vehicle stop anywhere near her home. The SUV slowed down in front of her tiny, weather-worn house, and Emily's hands trembled as she set her teacup down. Questions flooded her mind. Who could this be? Was something wrong? Was she in trouble? The driver's door opened slowly, and a tall man in a suit stepped out, walking quickly to open the back doors. Emily held her breath as 4 young women stepped out, dressed elegantly, their eyes scanning her little house. For a moment, Emily didn't recognize them. They looked so different, so grown, so accomplished. Then all at once her heart recognized what her eyes could not deny. It was them, the 4 orphan girls she had fed and raised. Tears blurred her vision as she whispered to herself, "It can't be." Could it really be them? The young women turned toward her with wide smiles, and before Emily could move, they were already running toward her porch. Her old wooden steps creaked under the weight of their hurried feet, and Emily stood frozen, unable to believe the sight. "Mama Emily!" one of them cried out, her voice filled with both joy and gratitude. The sound of those words broke the last wall of doubt in Emily's heart, and tears streamed down her cheeks. The girls threw their arms around her, hugging her tightly, almost knocking her back into the chair. Emily sobbed uncontrollably, overwhelmed by the flood of emotions rushing through her. When she finally managed to speak, her voice cracked. "Look at you, my beautiful girls. What have you become?" One of the young women stepped back slightly, holding Emily's hands, and said with shining eyes, "We became who we are because of you." Another reached into her purse and pulled out a small silver key, placing it gently in Emily's trembling palm. Confused, Emily looked at it, then back at them, her lips struggling to form words. One of the girls smiled and pointed back at the SUV. "That car is yours now, Mama Emily." "It's only the beginning." Emily gasped, her knees weak, unable to process the magnitude of their gift. Then another spoke softly. "We've also bought you a new home. You'll never have to struggle again." In that moment, Emily realized the truth. Her years of sacrifice had bloomed into something beautiful, beyond her wildest dreams. Emily stood frozen on her porch, her hands still clutching the small silver key as though it were a dream she was afraid to lose. Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat echoing with disbelief and gratitude. The 4 young women stood around her, their eyes filled with love, admiration, and deep respect. For a moment, Emily could only look at them, unable to find the right words for the miracle unfolding before her. Then one of the girls spoke softly. "You gave us hope when we had none. You gave us love when the world turned its back." Another held her hand tightly and whispered, "You were the mother we prayed for every night." Tears streamed down Emily's face, and she covered her mouth, overwhelmed by emotions too powerful to contain. She remembered all the nights she had gone to bed hungry, just so the girls could eat. She remembered mending their torn clothes with her tired hands after long shifts. She remembered fighting back tears whenever people mocked her for wasting her life. And now, standing before her, were the fruits of her sacrifice. Strong, successful, beautiful women. One of them wiped Emily's tears gently and said, "All the good you poured into us, Mama Emily has come back to you." Emily shook her head, whispering, "I never expected anything. I just wanted you to have a chance." The girl smiled, and one replied, "And because of you, we have more than just a chance. We have a future." They led her slowly to the SUV, guiding her like precious treasure, while neighbors peeked out from behind their curtains. Those same neighbors who once mocked her now gasped in awe, whispering to each other in silence. Emily slid into the leather seat of the SUV, her fingers tracing the stitching, her mind still struggling to accept reality. One of the girls leaned close and said, "This is just the beginning. We want to give you the life you deserve." Soon, they drove her to a beautiful new home, larger than anything she had ever imagined. The house stood proudly on a quiet street, its garden filled with blooming flowers and sunlight. Emily stepped out of the SUV, her legs trembling, and whispered, "Is this really mine?" All four girls nodded eagerly, their faces shining with joy. "We bought this for you, Mama Emily," one said. "This is where you'll live from now on." Emily covered her face with both hands and broke into sobs, her body shaking from gratitude. The girls wrapped their arms around her again, holding her as tightly as they did 12 years ago when they were children. In that moment, Emily realized that her love had not only changed their lives, but had also rewritten her own destiny. She understood that true wealth was not measured in money, but in the lives we touch with kindness. Her story, once filled with struggle, had become a living testimony that love never returns empty. As the sun set behind her new home, Emily whispered through her tears, "God answered my prayers. He gave me daughters and he gave me a family." And that night, for the first time in years, Emily fell asleep not in worry, but in peace, surrounded by love and finally home. "Answered my prayers. He gave me daughters and he gave me a family." And that night, for the first time in years, Emily fell asleep not in worry, but in peace, surrounded by love and finally home.